Guys, what's happening? It's Mike's Total Dragon channel, and first day of Heroescon is in the books. I was planning on going all day from 11 to 7, but I tapped out about 5 o'clock. I was super tired from getting up this morning at 6, so I just grabbed some pizza at a place beside the convention center, came on back to the hotel here, and I thought I would do a video of not just the stuff I bought today, but the signatures and all the books I got signed. So everyone was super cool. Everyone was really nice about signing stuff. Got to have some really cool interactions. Everyone was, classy. Everyone was, just professional, really professional. First we have here Batman Annual number 10 by Dennis Cowan. He signed right here on the inside. And I got to talk to him and told him about how in 1986 this book grabbed 10-year-old me and got me on the journey to becoming a comic book fan. And he said that one of the things he mentioned is that he was so young when he was working on this book, and it was one of his earliest comics, not one of the very first comics, but I think what he was getting at was it was one of the first big two jobs. And he said that he said he was really intimidated working with Doug Munch and Alfredo Alcala. He said he was definitely the low man on the totem pole in this triumvirate here. So, but everything considered, he was really nice. Then I got Scotty Shaw to sign my copy of Captain Carrot right here. He signed right down here at the bottom. He was quite interesting to talk to. I'll put it like that. He had a lot of things for sale, like sketchbooks and personal books he had worked on, joke books, stuff like that. So maybe, and I didn't pick one up today because it was, I only have so much money. So I think maybe on Sunday, depending on how much money I have left, I'll swing by, pick something up, support him a little bit, give him a little bit extra financial boost. Then Amanda Connor, she was really glad to see this book here. This is one of her very earliest works, Adventures of Bayou Billy. For those of you who don't know, this was a Nintendo game that came out, and the gist of this Nintendo game was it had a zapper section where you used the Nintendo gun. It had a driving section, and it had a side-scrolling fighting section. So all three of those were in one. That was a big deal in the 1980s when this came out. But this is one of her early works. I had so much Power Girl stuff signed by her. I just wanted to bring something different. And while I was getting her done, her husband was seated beside her, Jimmy Palmiotti. He did this really cool inside sketch of Gunslinger Spawn. And I got to talk to him a little bit about living in New York and how he would, his experience working with cowboy style comics, because he's written this and he's written the two separate Jonah Hex series. And I asked him a little bit about that he grew up on Westerns, and he said as someone who grew up in crowded New York, he was very drawn to TV shows and movies or whatever that had wide open spaces. Then I got Tom DeFalco to sign this copy of Thor here, and this one here. And I told him he was actually just being kind of disagreeable with me. I told him that I thought that him and Ron Friends, their work needs to be mentioned along with all the other heavily recommended runs of Thor. When you see people ask, what are their essential Thor runs? It's always the same stuff. Jason Aaron, Walt Simonson, Stan Lee, and Jack Kirby. And I told him, I said, you and Ron Friends, y'all should be included in that conversation as well. I said, you guys really carved out a name for yourselves on this book. And he said that he didn't feel like he was really deserving of being mentioned in the same breath as, Stan Lee and Jack and Walt and everything. And I said, well, look, man, don't sell yourself short. You guys did a lot of great work. So then June Brigman, I got her to sign this very early copy of Power Pack. She's always very nice, very courteous, super nice lady, very professional. Got the chance to talk to Todd Knock about his book Wild Guard, and he told me that he is working on some additional Wild Guard stuff now. He's going to be making announcements about it probably towards the end of the summer. It'll probably be a Kickstarter type thing. So I told him I appreciate the heads up for that, and letting me know to be able to look out for that when that comes out. Don McGregor, he was a pleasure to talk to. Where is it at? Right here. For Mike, thanks for the kind words on Panther's Rage. Very classy guy. One of the last wordsmith authors. He's really a artist with words. A lot of descriptive dialogue, a lot of descriptive monologuing, and it was really a pleasure to talk to him about Black Panther and the challenges that he had putting this book out, fighting editorial. Editorial wanted more white characters. Don said more white characters in a book set in an all-black African nation makes very little sense, so I'm not going to do it. So it was a joy to talk to him about that. He complimented me on my choice of copies here, my choice of editions. Having this Penguin edition, it is a really nice, really beautiful looking copy. Tom Scioli, I talked to him for a little bit about Transformers and G.I. Joe. He did this really cool sketch right here in the middle, which I did not anticipate at all. He did that on his own, quick, fast, and in a hurry. So I was super lucky to have this. Wasn't expecting that, didn't ask for it at all. Sometimes if you show up with these type of hardcovers, the writer or the artist or whatever, they'll kind of do a little extra for you. And then this is the book I got out of the Kickstarter. I brought to Art Adams to sign. He signed it right here, and he actually told me that because this came from the Kickstarter, he was not going to charge me anything to sign it. So I didn't anticipate that. So anything free is always good. But that is some of the books I got. These are all the books I got signed today. I did get the Joe Kelly omnibus signed. He was not quite prepared at his booth when I showed up, so he said, come back later and I will do a sketch in your Deadpool omnibus, a quick head sketch for you. But he said don't expect much because he is a writer, not an artist. But I'll take anything that's free, especially something like that. When the creatives ask to do stuff like that, you don't say no. It's their work, it's their book. You let them go to town, and that's what really makes getting stuff signed worth it. But all in all, very solid start for day one. I picked up a ton of comics, and I'll definitely do like a separate video for that. But I really wanted to post this stuff that I got signed because so much of it is so cool. But that is day one for Heroescon. I'm back in the hotel, just sitting back and relaxing. So I will talk to you guys later. Y'all have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.